So this is going to basically be an instructional video on the most frequent questions I get regarding specialized ants. So first thing I want to talk about, you have to pick an army focus. So what have you upgraded the most thus far? Hopefully you have focused on something. That I have a ranged army, as might be apparent. So if you kind of look here, you can see that my ranged ants are definitely the ones that I feed the most shards to. One of the things that I know Marie has struggled with and other people that I've helped are how aid slots work and what you want to do, what ants go where. This is your aid slot here. Mine are full up, but you can remove these and adjust these whenever you'd like, however you'd like. So for the sake of this video, I will show you what I've got going on here. So I definitely focus on my civil ants in the aid slots. Something to note is any red ants that you get, those cannot be aided. Those have to be upgraded manually. So what you need to know first and foremost is that for your aid to work, you have to have your top 5 specialized ants that are upgraded manually. So because the red ants cannot be aided, I choose to upgrade those manually. So I got 1, 2, I skipped the rock ant because that's a haste and I just got that, but then I got 3, 4, and then I have actually my 5th is the brown gilder, brown glider. Inside joke. Anyway, so those are your 5 that anything in the aid slot is going to be upgraded to whatever level those 5 are at. You only need the 5. I have other ones that are upgraded because you also only have so many aid slots. So I take my 5 and you look, they're all at 330, which means everything in an aid slot is also at 330. So what you want to make sure, so if you have a legacy on one, you cannot unaid it or do it as easily. So we're going to go ahead and take the legacy off of my amber stinger there, which is what this plus here is. And now I'm able to remove the amber stinger from the aid slot. So you just click it and then it costs you 100 diamonds, which is pretty nickel and diming, but whatevs. Okay, so now I have another aid slot available. There are things that I could do. Like I said, I focus on my civil ants. The way I think about it here is, so I don't aid purple or blue, even though those are civil, but those max out at 210. The purples max out at level 210 and the blues max out at level 130. So it doesn't make sense to me to aid those. So I don't. What you want to make sure that you do before you put any ant in an aid slot is you want to make sure they're reset to level 1. You want to try to make your honeydew stretch as far as you possibly can. So here is my amber stinger, and as you can see, it is at level 1, and that is the proper way to do it. So you can take any ant, like the long jaw here, or longhorn is only level 20. I can reset that, which is this button right here, and you will get all of your honeydew and any breakout fruits you get from boosting it back. So when you boost, this costs honeydew. This one is what, 30 T1 and 60 T2s to boost at level to 30 to 31. But so when you reset, you get all of that back. There's nothing lost, no resource, no honeydew, no breakout fruits are lost in doing that. So you can reset and redistribute unlimited without any issue. But as I was saying before, you aid something, you definitely want it to be at level 1. Otherwise, then that honeydew and whatever else that you had on it will get stuck when it's aided, and it's going to be at the level the aid is at no matter what. So make sure you reset. And so, like I said before, you definitely want to make sure that you pick an army focus. Like I said, I'm ranged, but this is highly important. You have to make sure you pick an army focus. What you want to do to pick your main army, you want to make sure that you are feeding those 5 ants that are going to be in your main army all of those shards that you get within reason. So you also have shards like, or the ants like the jumper. Now if you look down here at these boxes, these are the statistics that you get for having this go to battle. War ants are only, their stats only go into effect when they are put into battle. Unlike civil ants, where those effects are always in effect, war ants is only in battle when they are actually sent out into a battle. So if you look, this has army HP, this is the jumper, army defense, and army ATK versus the amber stinger, which is, there's tactics, it's specifically ranged. So ranged HP, ranged defense, and ranged attack. Now it's arguably more important that you up those specific stats to your specific army, more so than maybe trying to get army stats. Now army stats affect your entire army no matter what army is being sent out. Those are the stats that affect all of it. Now ranged are only going to affect your ranged soldiers, and all of this takes effect onto your army, your actual these guys right here, your soldiers. So I have the T9 ranged. Any stats that I have from these ants, like this ranged defense, goes towards the defense of my T9 ranged soldiers. So that's why it's so important that you get those stats up. And you have a limited amount of ways that you can do that, but your ants are your main primary way. So for my ranged army, I used the Velvet Ant, Brown Gilder, Amber Stinger, Jumper, and Lumia. And here's what I do. So the Velvet Ant has melee attack and ranged attack. This one's kind of a mix and army defense, but it's a powerful ant because it's a red ant. The most important stat for whatever army focus you choose is the specific to that focus attack power. So I use this because it is a nice large boost. As you see, 60% of ranged attack for my ranged T9 army. The Brown Gilder is all ranged statistics, and so is the Amber Stinger, like I showed you. But also the Jumper is army statistics, which is important too, secondary to ranged for my army, and so is the Lumia. Now we can talk about legacies a little bit more in a bit, but the reason why I use the Lumia, even though the Lumia is a melee, is because it's army statistics, and I have a rare Lumia legacy, which is 40% army statistic boost, which is huge. So if you look at legacies, if you have a rare one or even a fine blue one or even a common, these stats are exclusive to it. So, and it goes based on the amount of stars that your ant is. So my flathead is only a 1 star. That's all I've been able to upgrade it. Now you can see the maximum stars if you look and click into whatever various stat. It goes up to 3 red. So so you feed it shards, and then obviously you foster it to level up in those stars, and each star is 5 pieces of however many shards. So from 1 to 2, it is 4 shards to get 1 piece of the 5 for a full star. Each full star that you get boosts these stats up to the next level. It's done at the full star. So the next full star, 2 stars I get, is going to bump my, say, army ATK from 1 to 2, which is 14% to 21%. So that's the difference there. And then these legacies, this here, when you get to 2 stars, then it activates the army HP. And then when I get to 4 stars, it'll activate army ATK stat boosts, 40% each, which is a lot, especially for army statistics. That is a lot. So for specific stats toward an army, those numbers are going to be a little higher. So army stats are about half the amount of like ranged, for example, that you'll see. So if you see the army stats for this is 7, 14, 21%, then you go and look at my ranged guy, and now it's 12, 24, 36. So it's about double, you know, and so that's kind of how the game does it. So army stats, you know, 5% of an army attack boost is about the equivalent of 10% of a ranged attack boost for me. Does that make sense?